The escape from Alcatraz, the men who vanished. 3 men escaped from a prison that was never supposed to be escaped. More than 60 years later, nobody knows if they survived. Nobody knows where they went. And nobody knows what truly happened after they disappeared into the darkness. Because on the night of June 11th, 1962, 3 prisoners vanished from Alcatraz, a prison surrounded by freezing water, powerful currents, and a reputation that terrified criminals across America. Some believe the escapees drowned within minutes. Others believe they pulled off the greatest prison escape in history. What makes the mystery so fascinating is one simple fact: no bodies were ever found. This is the story of Frank Morris, John Anglin, Clarence Anglin, and the escape that continues to puzzle investigators to this day. To understand why this mystery became legendary, we first need to understand Alcatraz itself. Located on a rocky island in San Francisco Bay, Alcatraz was originally built as a military fortress. Over time, it became one of the most feared prisons in America. In 1934, the island officially opened as a federal penitentiary. It was designed for inmates considered too dangerous or too difficult for ordinary prisons. If prisoners caused trouble elsewhere, they were often sent to Alcatraz. The prison quickly earned a fearsome reputation. Its isolation was part of its security. The nearest shoreline was more than a mile away. The surrounding water remained cold throughout the year. Strong currents moved unpredictably through the bay. Even strong swimmers struggled against them. Prison officials believed these natural barriers made escape impossible, and for decades, they appeared to be correct. Many inmates tried to escape. Some were caught almost immediately. Others disappeared into the water. None were officially successful. Alcatraz became known as America's escape-proof prison. But every fortress has weaknesses, and eventually, 3 inmates discovered one. The mastermind behind the escape was Frank Morris. Morris was intelligent, exceptionally intelligent. According to prison records, he possessed a remarkably high IQ. Unlike many inmates, he wasn't known for violence. His greatest weapon was his mind. Before arriving at Alcatraz, Morris had already escaped from several institutions. Authorities considered him highly dangerous, not because he was aggressive, but because he was resourceful. Then there were the Anglin brothers, John and Clarence. Raised in Florida, the brothers came from a large family. Growing up near water, they became experienced swimmers. Friends and relatives later claimed the brothers were comfortable around rivers and oceans from an early age. Like Morris, they were serving sentences for bank robbery. Together, the 3 men formed an unlikely alliance. And over time, they began planning something extraordinary, an escape nobody thought possible. The plan started with patience. Months of patience. Inside each prison cell was a small ventilation opening beneath the sink. Most prisoners ignored it. Frank Morris saw an opportunity, using stolen spoons, improvised drills, and homemade tools. The inmates slowly chipped away at the concrete surrounding the vents. The work was dangerous. If guards discovered the damage, the escape would be over. Night after night, the prisoners worked in secret. The sound of prison machinery helped hide the noise. To avoid suspicion, they carefully painted the damaged concrete to match the walls. When inspections occurred, everything appeared normal. Gradually, the openings became larger enough for a person to squeeze through. Behind the walls lay a hidden utility corridor, a space rarely monitored by guards. It was the first step toward freedom. But escaping the cells was only half the challenge. The island itself remained the biggest obstacle. How could 3 men cross one of the most dangerous stretches of water in America? The answer required remarkable creativity. The prisoners began collecting raincoats. Not 1 or 2, more than 50. Every raincoat was secretly stolen and hidden. The inmates cut them apart, sewed them together, and sealed the seams using heat. The result was a homemade inflatable raft. They also created life jackets using the same material. Everything was assembled in secret, hidden from guards, hidden from fellow prisoners, hidden from almost everyone. The preparation took months. Failure was not an option. One mistake could destroy everything. Yet, somehow, the plan remained undiscovered. But another problem remained. Nighttime inspections. Guards routinely checked prison cells after lights out. If they noticed empty beds, the escape would end immediately. The prisoners needed a distraction, something convincing enough to fool the guards. What they created would become one of the most famous details in criminal history. Dummy heads, using soap, toilet paper, paint, and real human hair collected from the prison barber shop. The inmates constructed realistic heads, placed beneath blankets. The dummies appeared to be sleeping prisoners, at least in the darkness. The final pieces were in place. The escape was ready. On the evening of June 11th, 1962, the plan began. The prisoners carefully positioned the dummy heads on their pillows. Blankets covered the figures. From a distance, everything looked normal. Then the men climbed through the holes behind their sinks. One by one, they entered the hidden utility corridor. From there, they moved upward through the prison structure, eventually reaching the roof. Every step carried enormous risk. A single noise could alert a guard. A single mistake could trigger alarms. Yet somehow, the men avoided detection. They reached the outside, for the first time in years. They stood beyond the prison walls. The air was cold. The island was silent. Freedom was close. But the most dangerous part still lay ahead. Crossing the bay, carrying their homemade raft, the escapees moved toward the shoreline. Then, they disappeared into the darkness. The next morning, prison guards began their routine count. At first, everything seemed normal. The prisoners appeared asleep. Then something unusual happened. A guard approached one of the beds. Moments later, the dummy head rolled onto the floor. The truth became instantly clear. The prisoners were gone. Alarms echoed across the island. Search teams mobilized immediately. Boats entered the bay. Helicopters scanned the water from above. Law enforcement agencies joined the hunt. The FBI launched a massive investigation. Every possible lead was examined. Every possible route was analyzed. Authorities were determined to find the escapees, dead or alive. Yet despite the enormous search effort, no prisoners were located. The men had vanished. Investigators eventually discovered several items connected to the escape. A homemade paddle, fragments of personal belongings, pieces of equipment believed to belong to the prisoners. These discoveries convinced many officials that the escape had ended in tragedy. The water surrounding Alcatraz was brutally cold. Hypothermia could occur quickly. The currents were powerful. The distance was considerable. According to the official theory, the prisoners entered the bay and drowned. Case closed. But there was a problem, a major problem. No bodies were ever recovered, not one. And that absence created doubt. As years passed, strange reports began to emerge. Family members claimed they received mysterious Christmas cards. Some relatives insisted the Anglin brothers had survived. Others reported possible sightings in different states. Several stories suggested the escapees had started new lives under assumed identities. None of the reports could be confirmed, but neither could they be completely dismissed. The mystery continued. Then decades later, an unexpected development reignited worldwide interest. A letter surfaced. The letter was allegedly written by John Anglin. According to the message, all three escapees survived. The writer claimed Frank Morris died years later. Clarence Anglin also passed away, and John himself was elderly and living under a different identity. The letter attracted global attention. Investigators examined it carefully. Handwriting experts studied the document. Authorities reviewed every detail. Yet no definitive conclusion was reached. The letter could not be fully authenticated. Once again, the mystery remained unsolved. Modern researchers have revisited the case using advanced technology. Computer simulations have produced surprising results. Some studies suggest survival may have been possible. Under certain conditions, if the prisoners launched their raft at exactly the right moment, ocean currents could have carried them toward shore. The journey would still have been incredibly dangerous, but perhaps not impossible. And that possibility changes everything, because if the men survived, then they accomplished something nobody else officially managed. They escaped Alcatraz, a prison designed to be inescapable, a prison that represented the ultimate symbol of confinement. If Morris and the Anglin brothers reached shore, they achieved one of the most remarkable escapes in history. More than 60 years have passed. The mystery remains alive. No bodies, no confessions, no definitive evidence, only questions. Questions frozen in time. Did Frank Morris and the Anglin brothers disappear beneath the icy waters of San Francisco Bay? Or did they quietly step onto land, leaving authorities searching for ghosts? Perhaps the answer was lost decades ago. Perhaps it still exists somewhere, waiting to be discovered. Until that day arrives, the escape from Alcatraz remains one of history's greatest unsolved mysteries. 3 prisoners entered the darkness, and whether they found freedom or death may remain unknown forever.